We have Kayla Jensen with us, who is a woman in long-term recovery, which began in 2018 when she chose to make major changes in her life to regain custody of her daughter. Her substance use started at a young age, leading to multiple treatment stays, jail, and prison. Throughout her journey, she sought connection and acceptance, initially struggling to find lasting recovery. Her turning point came when she found support at USARA. Starting as a participant, Kayla became a volunteer and later joined the organization as an employee. Her personal experiences now enable her to provide the same support to others, helping them find their own path to a fulfilling life in recovery. Kayla is also passionate about advocating for women and families in the courtroom. Her efforts were recognized in the 2023 when she received the Amos Carreri Award from the Salt Lake Judiciary for her contributions to the improvement of the Utah judiciary. In her personal life, Kayla enjoys spending time with her husband and children and coaching her daughter's soccer team. She also has embraced a fitness journey, discovering the positive impact it has on her recovery. Kayla's story highlights the importance of support, advocacy, and finding balance in life. We have Tiffany Naccarato, who is a dedicated substance use disorder recovery advocate and a resilient woman in long-term recovery. Tiffany's story of addiction started when she began using drugs to cope with her overwhelming pressures of keeping up with life. Her addiction led to homelessness. The cycle of despair seemed unbreakable until she was offered a pathway to recovery through tailored programs focusing on her rehabilitation. Her experience is marked by moments of profound loneliness and the brink of suicide, underlying a critical need for systematic change to support women like her. Transforming her pain into advocacy, Tiffany now pushes for reforms within the specialty court system, advocating for approaches that replace punitive measures with family-oriented activities. This shift highlights the importance of understanding and addressing the unique needs of women in the recovery process, emphasizing the trauma-informed, family-first care that fosters both healing and empowerment. Her story not only sheds light on the deficiencies within our system, but also on the resilience and potential of individuals to influence within meaningful change when their experiences are acknowledged and their voices are heard. Woo!
My name is Kayla Jensen. I am Program Manager for the Salt Lake USARA office. I am also in training to become a recovery doula, and I am a woman in long-term recovery. I am a specialty court graduate, and today I get to show up here with almost 6 years in recovery from all problematic substances and get to share my lived experience and why I'm passionate for the things that I do. I am, an alumni from a specialty court, like I had mentioned, that really gave me the opportunity to change my life. And so now I get to go back into those same courtrooms and offer my lived experience, which is why I'm super passionate about this. I'm also the project coordinator for the newest grant that USARA has received, and yeah.
By the way, we didn't know that they were going to read all of that about us, so you guys just know everything. That was long. Okay, so my name is Tiffany Naccarato, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is that I get to speak on topics that matter to me and to my community and that affect the people that I love. And I'm just proud to be standing here today to be talking to you because this is something that is dear to our heart, and I know at USARA's heart. And we want to spread the word of how we can be effective in the treatment court setting. At USARA today, I am the Community Impact Manager. I've held many roles. I actually started out as a participant, and I had a recovery coach at USARA. And then I started volunteering and helping out with Recovery Day. I've had many other roles that have been very important to me that have led me here today. Kayla mentioned the grant. We get to work side by side with each other, and I am the program director. And it is one of RCSP grants, recovery. Oh my gosh, I know. What is it again? I know, but I'm like nervous right now. I can't remember. I'll remember in a minute. Anyways, it's called RCSP. It's a same grant. special grant. And it's 5 years, and so we're developing this program. We already had a program within the court system, and now we're able to actually hone in some areas that we wanted improvement and get funding for it, which is badass, right? So we're here to talk about that today. What else? That's all, I think. Oh, it worked. Okay. So this is, who's heard of you, Sarah? Yay! Everyone! Awesome. Okay, so just in case you didn't know, our mission is USERRA connects and inspires communities. This isn't working anymore, but that's okay. Right? Is it working?
We can hear you.
It's picking up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's bleeding into the other rooms a bit.
Okay.
We're good.
USERRA connects and inspires communities to advocate for addiction recovery, and then our vision is we envision a Utah where recovery, community, and connection are recognized as the most valuable assets in people to recover from addiction. All of our services are free. We have like a front room setting. If people want to come in and drop in and talk to somebody with lived experience, they can come and just chill with one of us, and we get to just have a conversation, which is really cool. And then we do one-on-one coaching. That's how I and Kayla got services at USERRA. We have an ARCHES program that goes into the emergency room settings. We have a family program, and we give non-clinical recovery support services. So we're peer-driven. Awesome.
Okay, so we use evidence-based peer support. So we have improved relationship with clinical providers, increased treatment retention, increase of overall satisfaction with treatment, improved access to social supports, decreased criminal justice involvement, decreased emergency service utilization, reduction in incidents of use, and increase in gainful employment and greater housing stability. So the two on the bottom are listed on this graph over here. That at the intake, that on this left side, is employment and education and stability in housing. So at intake, it was at 59.4 and 52.4, and then at the follow-up, it went up to 70.8 and 62 or 68.2. So there was a major increase in that, which is amazing. And I also wanted to note some things that I've noticed is improved relationship with clinical providers. When I'm with my participants, I'm able to talk to them about how to be honest about the things going on with their intimate relationships, personal relationships, and to build upon that with themselves. And then also decreased criminal justice involvement. I know for myself, I shoplifted to support my habit and then also to get some of my daily needs, right? Food, hygiene. So to offer my participants different resources so they don't have to go out and to do those same things.
With my participants, improved access to social support. At USERRA, we're big on honoring everybody in that community. We like to partner with multiple people, not just offer what is going on in our organization, but others, such as Fit to Recover or Tatanka Lawyers, right? Anything. And so we're there to help somebody find what works for them, even if it is not within our agency. So that's cool. So we get to talk and just get to know someone and then figure out maybe culturally they fit somewhere else, or just they don't like a certain group, or they like a certain group. It doesn't matter. So we're here to just help them figure what works out for them. And then the other one I would say I want to touch on is, what was it? Oh, relationships. Oh yeah, increase of overall satisfaction with treatment. There's many times that people get into treatment and they might have an issue with multiple women in one house or whatever, right? And they get to come and bring that to me, and then we get to talk about how we can see light in other people, or I like to call it the namaste. I am a unique coach, and so I'll figure out little things to make somebody, help somebody move forward in their journey, and we will find other things that we can agree on with somebody, even if they absolutely don't like somebody. So we build a bridge of relationships, and that can even be with their caseworkers, so or their clinical or anything. And so we are we're here to help build those relationships, and not just, okay, somebody doesn't like this, so we're not going to go do that treatment, or we take that treatment. Yeah. Okay, so the effectiveness appears in the courtroom setting. We build a bridge from treatment to recovery. We are community building, and then reduction in incident of use and return to chronic use. We have empowerment through self-advocacy and role modeling. With the reduction in incident abuse, we have difficult conversations with the court team, and we help people have difficult conversations within the court team. So they might be holding something in, and they're very scared to say. I will say from my own experience that when I was in the court system, there was a lot of things that were going on in my minor that I wanted to do, but I did not dare to ask because I felt like they didn't have a voice. We're here to help each individual stand up and say what they need. And so we will do some mock role plays and help them go talk to we'll even sit next to them when they talk to their court team. So self-advocacy is a big one. And then, we demonstrate that there's hope in the treatment court. So for me, again, my lived experience was when I went into the courtroom and I would, there was two ladies. I'm actually going to say their names, Leanne and Tracy, just in case they're not known. And they were in the courtroom, and I remember thinking, like, they're just part of the court team. There's no way I could relate to them. And one day after a softball game, they started sharing some of their stories, and they were talking about what kind of lifestyle they used to live. And I was like, whoa, like I lived that too. And here you are, like chatting it up with the judge, and here you are, like the judge is respecting you, like. Whoa, that was a light bulb in my head. And I'm not kidding you, my posture, everything changed that day that I heard their personal story. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this too. So I started walking into the podium. My family even started commenting on how I was walking, how I was sitting in the car because of their stories that they told me. And I could build off that. And then also my recovery coach, Lucette, at USARA, I remember her going through my recovery management plan and her asking me what I wanted to do in my career. And I wanted to scream so bad, like, I want to do what you're doing, but I didn't dare to say that yet. And through working with a coach, right, and me being in the court system, she helped me vision my life. And she started asking certain questions, and then I started thinking I could do it. And she started drawing things out. So that's what we do with our peers. We start drawing out what they want in their future and help building that. And by role modeling and showing that we have been through the court system and that we have done it by having a mentor too, it helps build leaders. Just by raising hands, I know I'm kind of going off track. Who in here has been coached by one of us or somebody at USARA and now working with them?
Awesome. So I kind of wanted to go into the peer support as well. So I was lucky when I enrolled in family recovery court. Tiffany was the peer support that was in that courtroom, and I had already known Tiffany, so I already had that welcoming hand. So that was great.
How did we know each other?
So we met each other on the streets in Midvale during our use at our probably not our worst, but maybe close to it, and now we work alongside each other, which is pretty awesome.
Freezing our butts off.
Yes, freezing our butts off. It's a whole long story, but we had different thoughts of how it happened, and then after years and years of this, we had the conversation. But anyways, and so the one thing that really was helpful for me is, so I started as a participant as well, and then I enrolled in family recovery court. And at my family team meetings, I had no idea that I had a voice. I had all these people. Essentially, this was my court team, and me and my husband were right here, and it felt like everyone was against us. So I didn't have a voice. And so when I was able to have a peer support come into my family team meetings and stand up for me and say, no, you're not going to talk to her like this. No, why don't you look at it this way? Don't get me started. I should not look at it. That's when my life was able to change. You know, I was able to start seeing that I had something in me. I had no idea that I'd be working here several years later, but it was through my peer support and showing up and saying, hey, like, doesn't matter what you've been through, it doesn't matter what you're going through, we're here to support you. They saw me through my daughter getting removed. They saw me while I was sitting in the parking lot. They saw me tapering off of methadone, and that was my welcoming place. And so being able to go into the courtroom is really special for all of us, and I love that I'm able to show up in that manner as well. Okay, so, oh,
Right? What are we doing?
no, we're doing it.
Oh.
I was like, what? Why are we doing it the whole time? Okay.
Okay, but you go back and forth, so I.
It's fine.
about it.
Yeah, okay, so who's heard of Nothing About Us Without Us? Okay, there's quite a few of us. So James Charlton polarized the movement, Nothing About Us Without Us, which is a slogan used to communicate the idea that no policy should be decided by any representative without the full and direct participation of members of the group affected by that policy. So what that means to me is that I have a seat at the table because I am us. I am a part of us, and I get that seat at that table. So all of this talks about our staffing. So we are really fortunate at USAR that we get to go into our Family Recovery Court staffing. And the great thing about that is that we have the seat at the table. One thing that we do have is an MOU, so that was it something of understanding?
Memorandum.
Yeah, memorandum of understanding. And so we have that set up with the courts, and we also talk to our participants about it and say, hey, we do go into the courtroom. We are there on your behalf. We are not,
We don't need it.
no, we're not, yeah, that's what I was looking for. We're not court mandated reporters. So the only things we're going to report are if you're threatening to injure yourself or someone else. And we're going to make those phone calls with you, right? We're going to do that with you. And so, again, nothing about us without us. Yeah. Scenario.
A little bit about staffing. So we've been in staffing at as peer support in Salt Lake County for 5 years. That's actually how I got hired at USAR. It was a 3-month grant that was left. I thought I was just going to be at USAR for 3 months to do for my career, and that's okay. I took it because I loved USAR so much. And I ended up going into the courtrooms, and at that time it was called Family Dependency Drug Court. And through the peer support movement in the courtroom, we were able to advocate for the change of family recovery court. So that's what it is today, which is really cool. But we started sitting in staffing, and still 5 years from now, it's still controversial. So not everyone loves us being in staff. Our teams do, the court teams do, the judges love us. The judges will take us out to dinner. We had the director of Family Recovery Court take us to baseball games. I mean, people love us in the court in Salt Lake County. If you spread out, and I've spoke about, this is why we keep talking about it, people are kind of like, what's going on? Why is it here in the court, in staffing, talking with case staffing people that are in recovery? It's because we deserve a seat at the table, and this is what happens, is they start staffing us, and they don't, most of them, and I won't say all of them, most of them don't have the lived experience. And so we bring a different aspect. Everybody's important. So I love what the judges say. I love what the caseworkers are saying, the clinical, everything. Everybody's important. We just add that extra layer of, okay, now we can give our lived experience on a situation, and then we can come together and collaborate on the best case of outcome. And that can mean sanctions, that can mean incentives, that can just mean, Kayla and I came up with this. I always forget the name, but the acronym is REI.
Recovery Exploration Intervention.
We came up with that to be implemented in Family Recovery Court. And what that meant was less sanctions going to jail, because when the parents were going to jail, the kids were getting removed again. And then they were going into like foster care. Sorry, I just literally on the floor. Thank you for picking it up. And they were getting removed, and then they were going to jail, and then they come back, and then they have to restart over again. So now with the REI, we're able to pause for a minute, and they are able to get, what's it called? Just get permission, I guess I'd say. Permission to go to certain things, like maybe a mom-daughter muffin day. They can still go, but they're strict. They have to stay in the home. It's kind of like house arrest, but not. They still get to go and do things for their kids and to help better their recovery, so they can come to USARA. All of this instead of jail, and they can put their kids in the home. That's the most. And Kayla and I came up with that by sitting in staffing, because we were like, oh my gosh, these kids keep getting like sent to here, and then they're going to jail because we need a sanction. Yes.
I love that. You know, I work in the mental health court down in southern Utah, and we do phase work.
Yeah.
And part of phase 2's phase work is to come up with sanctions.
Yeah.
And jail is not allowed to be one of them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we try to stay away from that as much as possible, because it's not doing them any good. So I love that. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thanks for advocating for no jail. So we're the same. all of us that attend courts, we would prefer not jail. I fall, if it's a safety reason, then I'm okay with it, but that's just my preference. I know my colleagues might have a different one, but that's me. And so, but yeah, like we get to make the change. And by sitting in and staffing, it really elevates the experience that all around. And the people that I've coached that know that I'm going to staffing, they still trust me. That's the big question that we get asked all the time. Because right now, we're trying to get into felony drug court staffing, and it hasn't happened yet. But that we're hoping that that does. And the biggest pushback we get is, how do we know that you are going to keep secrets for your participants, and how are the participants going to trust you to even tell you anything? And again, you start from the get-go that we don't report anything but confirm or deny, so everybody knows that. We have the MOU in place. We also, how we started this, and I was telling you about that, Donald, that we, years ago when I started going into staffing, right from the beginning, I started laying strong boundaries. If you start calling, which decent workers would call me, or court teams would call me, hey, so-and-so doing this, what do you think? And I'm like, we're not in the staffing realm right now, so we're not going to discuss. And remember, I can only confirm or deny. I can give you my lived experience of what I think I was going through during that time. But so we just laid the boundaries strong right from the beginning, and now we're so respected 5 years later. And there's a lot of training that happens too when we send coaches into the staffing. We don't just send them in and say, hey, like, go advocate. Like, there's a lot, right, girls?
Yes.
So, what's our time? Good. Okay, we have a scenario. Is there anything else?
Well, I just want to say that, oh no, we'll do that after the scenario.
Okay, I'm going to give a scenario, and then I want this to be an audience engagement. So I'm going to give you a scenario, and then we're going to see how we would advocate for your peer in staffing. Okay. Okay, here we go. In staffing, there's a situation that is brought up about Joni, whom you've been working with. There are concerns about her UAs. She is showing up to test, however, is still testing positive. Sanctions are being considered. How would you advocate for this peer? Who wants to give it a try? Hi.
So is she still popping dirty, but are they coming down?
Great question.
Because that matters.
So would you ask that in
I would
staffing?
definitely ask that, and if it wasn't, to check to see if that, because you could be high in your system for quite a while before it's out, right?
What if they weren't coming down?
What's that?
What if they weren't going down?
Well, then you would have to create an intervention. But I'd have to know the whole scenario behind the case, right? I can't just go on it with yeah. You need more details on it.
Yeah, so what I'm
So I
hearing
would
is
want to be
more
educated on the whole situation.
details. Awesome, thank you.
I would say community service is a good alternative to jail.
What kind of community service?
I'm the peer for mental health court in Davis County, and they do all sorts of different things. They do Humane Society, or you can go down to the Tracy Aviary, places like that, or there's other options as well.
I'm glad you mentioned community service, because community service is a huge sanction, right, in the courtroom. It's also very important to find what kind of community service would be beneficial for each individual, because it's different, right? For me, going to an event, like I love that, and it's so good, and it was actually good for me when I had community service and when I was in felony drug court, because I went and met a lot of people, and that's carried on to into my recovery. And then there's also maybe an individual that has social anxiety, that would actually do more damage to send them into the community. So what could we find that would be beneficial for the person in the long run, and helping them find a pathway that can sustain their own recovery? Yes.
I know one of the things that we do as well is essays.
Yeah.
And at times Judge Bell will have them go and sit in his sentencing court. Because Judge Bell is like, in our mental health court, he approaches the people much differently. Loving, very calm, he's never raised his voice. And then in sentencing court, barracuda a little bit, and we call him the hanging judge in that courtroom. But it's just another option. And I would also advocate for the fact that she's still showing up to test.
Oh.
That is the key
Yes.
point right there.
Thank you.
Straight face,
Yes.
right? Straight face.
Absolutely.
Find at least one thing as the advocate to say. Straight face. She's showing up.
It says a lot.
Right there. Right? Point blank. So we should get, even if it's like been months and months of not doing what they're supposed to do, they've been showing up. Let's make sure we celebrate all wins. That's what we do as recovery coaches, right? We're going to say in front of everybody at staffing, she's showing up. If everybody else is like, oh, they're doing this, that, I say, you're doing that. Good job. Right? And then, yeah, do you have one?
I think it's also important to ask if they've been provided the tools
That's so key.
to continue to maintain sobriety, right? Like if it's just the beginning and they are continuing to test positive, right? Like have they been provided the right tools to start testing negative?
Like, what barriers are in the way?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure we say that when we're advocating. What barriers have been in the way? Is this individual housed? Is this individual in a safe place? Have they been given the tools?
Are they
Right.
treatment yet?
So straight face, what barriers? Oh, safety. The safety one.
I'm inquiring what safety means, because safety can mean something different to everyone, right? And so what someone grew up in as being safe may not be essentially what's the safest for their recovery now. So how do we get them there? Give them the options, give them the tools. I think that one thing with the staffing is that it gives a third perspective, maybe a fourth, fifth perspective, right? Someone in the court that I go into had been struggling to get to testing on time and showing up for testing and getting to treatment, and it was like, oh, they just have this motivation. And I'm like, okay, well, let's find out more. Turns out this person is from a rural area, I can never say that, and has never used the UTA bus system. So how are we anticipating they're going to get there if they have no idea how to use the UTA bus system, right? Looking at tracks in the bus system, we'd be like, what? No, I'd rather stay home, right? I'd rather not go. I'd rather do whatever instead of me if I don't know what that's like. And so that person was offered the bus pass, and then had been consistently showing up to treatment, to all these drug tests and everything. So it was that one simple question of, oh, hey, maybe we should look at it this way, that no one else in the courtroom was seeing. You know what I mean?
Change the whole trajectory.
Yeah, the whole entire thing. They were talking about sanctions, doing the REI and all these things, which could obviously have its benefit, and that bus pass was a huge missing piece.
One barrier.
Yes.
And you have to consider their protective factors. Because if they have housing and they have employment and say they have daycare, they have all of their things lined up, but they're still testing positive and sending them back to jail might reduce all of those protective factors. And now we have 0 protective factors. And that's valuable to understand. In each case, they might be different. What are they gonna lose if we sanction them to jail?
Everything.
Or sanction them at all.
And sometimes, and sometimes that, taking, I don't have a job where I can do this, or I can take time off to do these certain things, and so we have to understand what their protective factors are and how we keep them protected, right? So that we can amplify those things. Yeah.
The other thing I've had in staffing is we start out with, in our experience, right? Not this is what this person should do, or this is what this person is going through, or anything. Say, in our living experience, or when we were in drug court or in treatment court, we did this, or maybe we experienced this, or we have a coworker that experienced this, or someone we coached, or whatever. So we're always going by our lived experience, never, ever, ever telling the judge it should be a certain way. They're not. Yes, right, we're part of the team, we want to collaborate, we're not there to make everybody listen to us and it's only our way, because it's not, right?
I would ask the peer too, why? Why are you continuing to use substances despite these potentially adverse consequences, and then listen to the answer? And then I would probably also on the clinical side of the house, the behavioral health provider, what are they saying too? Like, why is their client, what do you have to say? Are they a candidate for psychotropic medications, opioid use disorder medications. I mean, there's so much.
So you would take,
You spoke well to our role. I mean, that's wonderful, but you know, what are the other parties doing too? You know,
yeah, you're
Yeah, the holisticness.
because you know,
so taking it outside of staffing and having those one-on-one conversations, which I think is our next one. I know, and I'm up again.
All right. Okay, so peer-to-peer. We meet people where they're at, right? Any point in time in their recovery. We celebrate their wins, big and small. We list the benefits of participating in specialty courts, de-escalate and bridge the gap between the participant and their legal team. Give a confidential space to empower participants to be open to their team. Give hope that we do recover. Real and role plays, advocating for their wants and needs. We mentioned the family team meetings that we had done. Role playing with our participants, what they want to see happen in their family team meeting or at court, how they can advocate all those different things. Even at the podium, like going up when someone's getting sentenced, seeing how scary, right? And how to advocate for yourself and be passionate in a way that's going to be heard effectively. And interviews, I know Julie does great with that. Those interviews, like having I had a big, huge, job interview. I had a huge space gap in my employment. How do I present myself? Well, I could say I was in jail, I was in prison, I was in treatment, all these things. Doesn't sound really presentable, right? So how can I do that in a more effective way? And then also other arenas. So all of this we do in our one-on-one coaching and in the courtrooms and also outside of the courtrooms. One of the ones, de-escalating and bridging the gap. We offer that on-hand support in the courtrooms and outside of the courtrooms when someone may be having something going on. Someone may be getting a sanction, or they just had their child removed, or they just had experienced a traumatic event. We can sit down and have that peer-to-peer conversation with them. And then the hope, giving hope that we do recover from our past, our trauma, that we have self-worth. And then I mentioned the finding the voice. The family team meetings for me was essentially where I learned to find my voice, because I had been in the court system for so long. I literally felt this big, no matter where I was, no matter what I was doing. Even when I started testing negative, even when I was doing all these things the court asked of me, I still felt really small. And so to have someone stand up for me and be my voice when I wasn't able to was really impactful, and now I get to do that same thing like I had mentioned.
Heck yeah.
there we go.
You know what I just noticed is not up here? We help people one-on-one go through recovery management plan, like I was saying was my experience, and it's 12 different life domains. And they get to self-rate themselves and see what areas that what priorities they have in their life and what areas they want to set goals in. So we're big on goal setting with them, even if it's packed in one box.
Yep.
Okay, so community engagement. We're peer-driven all-pathway meetings. We have community events that are large and small. We have recovery leadership workshops. We build their support network, community service, and volunteer opportunities, social media, alumni pages, and we explore hobbies and interests. So, this is where a big part of our grant comes on the RCSP, and I still don't write it down, but it's Recovery Community Support Program, right? Something. Is that something?
That's right.
Mary goes on here, she's listening. But it is to build a community, right? And so we are able to now have, we've always had social media alumni pages, but now we're able to have a support group for the alumni, which used to be when I was in felony drug court, we had that, and that really helped me build a community. And then COVID happened, right? And then it stopped, and people went and did other things. And so now we have this grant that is supporting that. And we have a group of individuals that have been attending the alumni meeting every other week, because we have it. And they advocated for to go on the Provo River and go down and go float the Provo River as one of their activities, which is so cool, because I went into this alumni meeting with the agenda of like, oh, we're gonna like have water balloons and do all this. I was fluffy idea, right? And I'm the only female in the group as of right now. And they were like, no, we're not doing that. And I love it because they feel comfortable to stand up and be like, no, Tiffany, we don't want to do this water balloon stuff. We want to do the Provo River. And so with this grant, I'm able to say, yes, we can do that Provo River activity. And so now they're going to go float the river July 20th, which is really cool. And then we have other activities too, such as Field Day. We used to have a coach at Sarah at the Fields, and he's passed on, and his legacy lives on. And so we are going to have all the parent and family and recovery. We're going to have, that's where the water balloons are.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
with the little kids. So we get to do a lot of cool things with this grant, and then we get to move into the ASAP court, which you're a graduate. What does it stand for? Do you know? Oh,
Acute substance addiction
Program?
and this is why we have an awesome team. So yeah, we're gonna move into that courtroom this year. That's the misdemeanors. So we're just expanding with this 5-year grant.
and it is recovery and community services program.
You looked it up?
I sure did.
I appreciate you so much. Let's see, what did I want to talk about here? Oh, the recovery leadership workshops. That's with the grant too. We are, so it says in the grant that we need to, focus on employment. So that's where Julie's been involved, and people come and do the resumes and stuff, and then we're gonna have like a resume building workshop. So far we've had Hope on Tap for free STI testing and sexual education. So that was cool. We've done Rough Haven. Oh yeah. Well, I know I'm talking about the leadership workshop. We've done where Rough Haven came and immunized all of the participants' dogs and cats. That was a big line out the door, so that was well needed, right? Got to do that. A couple other, stuff to work on their credits, money management. So we get to provide a lot of recovery leadership workshops through this grant. It's really nice.
Okay, so essentially, as a summary of today, USARA makes a court for the peers, makes a case for our peers in the courtroom setting by celebrating, advocating, supporting, and empowering. And when we celebrating, they got up, they brushed their teeth, they showed up to their drug test today, they made the phone call to their DWS worker, they made the phone call to their caseworker, they got on the bus for the first time, they filled out an application, all those things that may seem like, oh, we can get up and do these every day. For me, in early recovery, was extremely hard, right? Brushing my teeth was like the feat of the world at some points, Brushing my hair, getting dressed, and that actually feeling worthwhile to get up during the day was really hard. So to have someone celebrate all those little things that I was doing and the big things was really awesome. Advocating, supporting all those different things, empowering. How awesome is it that we get to show up for others and empower them by just leading by example, right? I don't necessarily want to go into any courtroom and be like, oh, do it this way, and this way, and this way, because honestly, the way I did it was really hard, so don't do it my way anyways. But that was my story, right? I'm not here for that. I'm here to support other people and empower other people.
Yeah, and to add on to that, don't forget to state a case for yourself as a person in recovery in the courtroom, right? As an advocate. So make sure you're celebrating all your wins. And we do that at USARA. We'll talk about our successes, even the challenges, but I'm very big on successes. What's going on here? Let's pump you up, and don't be afraid to say, hey, I did this today. Like, that's cool, right? Make sure you're on the cheerleader and let everyone else celebrate you. And then advocate. That's what we're doing here. That's why we keep talking about us sitting in staffing or sitting in courtrooms. We're going to keep talking about it and keep advocating for it. My vision, I think Kayla's too, is to have all of our coaches statewide sitting in staffing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want you to sit there. So keep advocating, right? Oh, we didn't touch on even the language change. Like we've changed so much language throughout the courtroom, throughout just a lot of systems. And they just invited us back to go sit down with the judges and talk about words that might affect us and using person-first language. And we've been on podcasts and so just keep advocating for change, right? And then support each other, yeah. Our, do stuff that lights your fire, huh?
Exactly. Have someone that supports you on the fire and pushes you to the fire.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we also wanted to just share a little bit. This is an award that Tiffany and I received, and then we also received some other awards outside of that. So this was from 2023. It's the Building a Brighter Future Award. Kayla and Tiffany provide such a unique and helpful service to our clients and allow our clients to have someone to talk to and work with that has been in their shoes. Tiffany and Kayla are great at being solution-focused while demonstrating professionalism. And it says by nominator, but we'll call him out. It was Colin. So, really Colin. But yeah, really cool to be recognized in the same building where I worked at a DCFS case and I visited my daughter, right? I went to the same building and helped my little eight-month-old daughter, and now I was recognized for the hard work that I do. I also was recognized in 2023 with the, I'll slaughter it, but it's the Amicus Curiae, which is essentially the friend of the court. I was recognized by one of the Family Recovery Court judges for my imperative and irreplaceable and invaluable spot at the table. I had been in that courtroom for very long. It was actually the judge that my husband graduated from in 2019, and so being in that courtroom and then being recognized and honored at the judiciary conference for my hard work, where I have had many charges, right? And so many years later, here I am being acknowledged for the hard work that I'm doing.
And for the advocacy and
Yes.
the one that she mentioned, and this one is because of the advocacy we've done in staffing and the courtroom too.
Specifically the courtroom, specifically in staffing.
So the court team, because Colin is, he works for DCFS.
Yeah, he's a DCFS supervisor. He is he supervises all of the caseworkers for the Family Recovery Court.
And he wrote this about us, what we do, what we're doing in staffing. So we're seen as professionals. We are professionals. Okay. We're open for questions. We went a little bit faster. Any questions or comments?
As I expand my exit strategies program in the jail, I might want to work with you guys on stuff like resume building and finance stuff, whatever, because that's those are some of the skills that we're looking to add to the program. We just had a state inmate, she's been down 4 years, and she got transferred from the prison over to the county, and they don't get the same stuff when they're in the county, and so she's like, I don't know how to do a resume, and if I do a job interview, what am I gonna say about the 4 years I've been gone? And
Skills based.
right? She's like, there's so many things, if they ask me, I'm gonna tell them because I don't know how not to. I don't know how to act in a job interview, and I don't know how to, like, keep my stuff to myself. And I'm like, yeah, those are all skills that we need to build, and I mean, she's unfortunately out of time. She gets on in a couple weeks, but this is stuff I wanna add to my program because it's valuable. Those are the real skills.
For sure. And then I'll branch out to, like, when we had our financial, empowerment workshop, financial literacy, we reached out to a bank, right? And we collaborated with the bank. So, like, I was still in there, I was here in recovery, and I built that's one of my strengths is the money realm, right? Like, I'm a great saver, all that stuff. I built that, but I'm still not the expert, so I brought in the expert, and then I am the lived experience, and so we got to collaborate and do that workshop together, so that's awesome.
Yeah, well, so that's a little bit more difficult inside the bank.
Yeah.
Between the bank, you know? I don't
Well, we
really
could
wanna
get,
go.
but they have printout stuff, and I mean.
Yeah, that's what I mean, you have printouts and maybe somebody from USARA that's already doing this court field, you know, bring you guys in and just have you be a part. That's my hope is just to get everybody, you know, group effort.
Yeah, awesome. Collaboration. And we have our cards right here on this front seat, if you all want to grab them before you go.
Just want to say I did my peer support to you guys, and I heard a lot every time I come in. You guys handled this very well. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Any questions, comments? If you worked with one of us, but sitting in there with us being in the courtroom, you can talk about it like, I know I talked to someone here. Want to share?
I would cry.
Okay.
I will actually. So I started working with Kayla throughout my course process and getting involved with felony drug court originally while I was in treatment at House of Hope. And I remember it was like our first meeting, and I was telling her about how I had been advocating at the treatment center for us to get an additional pass. We just got passes, it was so exciting. And she told me, she said, "You're gonna work with us one day." And for me, that was the moment where I felt seen, and I felt like I was worth something and I could do something. And I ended up working with you, Sarah, for a year and a half, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And so, thank you.
You trusted her, right?
Oh, yeah, she's one of my best friends now. Yeah.
Tiffany was my coach all through family recovery court, after family recovery court, up until the day I got hired, actually. And when I went through family recovery court, that's for the second time, I felt like I had no voice in that room, because I was being aggressive. I was very viewed as an unfit mother because this was the second removal, and I felt like I could not talk in that family team meeting because every time I did, I was told that I was an unfit mom. And so through many coaching sessions, we finally got to a point where I was able to use my passion in a effective manner where I could get my needs met in a family team meeting, and got to the point where I was heard and I was seen, and that how I wanted my son to be treated mattered, and how I wanted to get his custody back mattered, right? And instead of a year and a half plan of getting him back, it turned into 7 months and me moving into life started, right? Like these were these goals that I set, and they were willing to hear me, you know, and like even today, I can call her when things come up still, you know, and she shows up for me.
Like to say that is totally works, because I've known you for a long time, I have no clue that side of you.
There was that side. I was scared of her. I was like,
Awesome.
Yeah, my baby.
I'm not saying for years, I just don't know.
Yeah. I
have
no.
Yeah, good job.
I would text her and like, "Hey, my mom down there, can you go home?"
I would be texting during the team meeting because like she could see me and it was my face and my ears, like they would just get blood hot, you know, and so.
I think it's seen as your kids, it's all 11 decades.
Different.
Yeah.
She did the work.
I would
She was
have
great.
never known.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I saw you during the time that you were
Yeah.
with your kids, and you're a great mom. You're an awesome mom.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, Sarah, do they go in and advocate in Team DCFS meetings?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I got somebody for you.
What?
I have somebody for these 3.
We're in the works right now of developing another program.
That needs
We will get
strong
grants called the Parent Advocate. It will be directly with the legal system and DCFS. We're hoping. We're in the works.
Because, you know,
Which we're gonna do it.
yeah.
And so, yeah, it's needed, right?
It's a scary situation to be in the court systems, period. I'm an advocate, mental health court in St. George. So I go in and I advocate for my clients. But I was a graduate of drug court. And so every time I walked into that room every 2 weeks, it was the most scaring, sickening, but I never heard from somebody on the other side that we're on your side. We're a team, we're here to act, and so that's the first, when I'm doing orientation with them, because I'm the first, being the tracker first to meet with them, I let them know we are a team, we are here to advocate for you, we are in it together. I never once heard that from drug court, ever. I felt like I was the enemy, I never had nothing, and so finding, I'm the same with DCFS. DCFS makes you feel, nothing, right? That's what you think anyways,
So
at
that's what you
least.
say. That's our
In that
perception.
moment, because you're so scared and you don't have the power to be like, I can do this. DCFS is telling me I'm a piece of crap mom,
Or that's what we're hearing.
Or that's what we're hearing, yeah. And so having somebody to advocate, I didn't realize you
And
said.
building the, because then we can talk to.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, because it's scary.
What's so cool though is that we get to then, so we're the ally, right, for both parties. It's not like we're just on this side, even though we're there to advocate for our participants, right, because we have that experience. But we are, yeah, bridging the gap, and so we get to talk to the workers and hear their side of things. And guess what? Their stories are, you know, I mean, they have a lot of investment too, and maybe they are going, and they can't see, or they're scared to say something here, and then we get to just bridge that gap and help each person feel heard and seen, and then we can all move forward together, and then we get stories like Kiana and other people in the county that I won't point out.
Well, I think it's really cool because the same way that we talk to our participants of like, oh, what do you want to see done? We've had those same conversations with the case workers. How can I talk to this person more effectively? Well, asking questions. What's going on? How's that affecting you? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? All those inquiring questions to help bridge that gap instead of just being like, oh, this, and this. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Well, when I am asked why am I doing something, I get put on edge. Well, what's causing you to do that? How did you learn how to do that behavior? All those things can lighten the tone to get the same question answered. And so even bridging a gap in that matter.
And you did touch on but about the benefits of the court team and what the court team has said. This benefit of working with us is they don't know all this.
Exactly. For sure. And
I feel like I am like the smartest person you've written.
Well, from the Spanish side, I don't know how we can get involved because a lot of people come get into the court process. And you guys being English speakers, kind of don't understand all the court systems. We are worse because we don't know. So how we can get involved to like provide service or support to the Spanish speakers that you might be having court? I don't know what's the situation over there.
Yeah, we can talk more about that too. And we also currently we partner with Latino Behavioral Health and PICTAR and anyone else that wants to partner with us. We will actually invite someone who can get them in on staffing with us in the Family Recovery Court to be an advocate for people differences. So yeah, we're all about mentoring. We want everyone to, you know, as many advocates as we can get. That's great. So we're here to help and collaborate and mentor. So if you want to hang out with us,
I'll take your part.
right here. Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah.